This is Newsmax TV. I'm Ashley Martella. We're pleased to be joined by radio and television host, political commentator, best-selling book author, and entrepreneur Glenn Beck. Good to have you with us again, Glenn.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Glenn, you're known for the 9/12 Project, designed to remind Americans of how we all pulled together the day after the worst ever terrorist attacks. But your upcoming Restoring Honor rally in D.C. on August 28th is something a little different. Can you tell us about it, please?
The 9/12 Project was all about principles and values, and this one is just about one, honor. Trying to restore our country. It's impossible to do it if we don't have honor. And I was looking at a poll about a year ago of the different things that we still believe in, and these numbers have actually gone down. But the things that we believed in, number one was our military. And I was pondering why, and it's because they're honorable. They'll do the tough things. They'll do them because they're the right things to do, and we still believe in them. There's bad guys here and there, just like there are in every walk of life, but generally speaking, they're the only things that we really believe in. That and our religious organizations. And if we're going to restore our country, we have to restore honor ourselves, in ourselves. You know, there's a patch here. This is a very small one, but this is a replica of the original Badge of Merit, the Purple Heart, that George Washington gave out. It was not about being wounded at the time. It was about having honor and integrity, doing something of merit, because he knew if you were going to defeat the most powerful military on earth, you had to have something extra on your side. And that was God.
You've got a star-studded speakers list. Can you tell us some of the folks participating?
I can. Well, you know some of the people that are participating. Sarah Palin is going to be there. Marcus Luttrell from the Navy SEALs, a lone survivor. But you don't know some of the bigger names that are going to be there because we haven't released them, nor will we until the event. Quite honestly, because they're not political people. They're not used to the political fire that they're going to have to walk through prior to it. Afterwards, everyone will see exactly what it is, and so they won't have that problem. And I'm not going to release those names and put these people and their families through it. But you'll be amazed at who's there.
Glenn, what was Sarah Palin's reaction when you asked her to participate in the rally?
Yes. That's all she said was yes. And I had to go back and say, well, no, wait, hang on just a second. I want you to understand, this isn't a political rally at all. She said yes. And what she's doing is she's been invited as a mom, just someone who was a mom of a soldier. She's going to be introducing some of the heroes that are going to be on stage, military, amazing military people. She'll be introducing them and talking about the honor and integrity of our military. That's her role.
Yeah, you've talked a lot about the three virtues: integrity, truth, and honor. You've said our freedom is only possible if the American people remain virtuous. A lot of people, though, are more concerned about jobs creation, the economy, and constitutional government. Please explain why you focus instead on inner virtues.
Because I don't think, you know, in studying the history of our country, first of all, we have to be concerned with jobs. We have to be engaged in the political process, and we must look at the things today. But the problem that we're having in our country is we don't trust anybody. Our politicians aren't telling us the truth. Our media isn't telling us the truth. So we have to have trust. And if I could teach the country one thing, it would be their own history. It would be the history prior to the American Revolution of George Whitefield. That is the era of enlightenment when they signed the Declaration of Independence. We look at Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. We say, where are these people? Well, I don't think they're here yet, but I think they're coming. And the reason why they're not here is because we haven't awakened them yet. George Whitefield came about 1740, and between 1740 and 1760, there was a period that was the period of awakening where people said, whoa, wait a minute, wait, what's going on? How do things really work? And they understood that their liberties come from God, that their liberties are theirs, that they're endowed by their Creator. These things came originally in the period of awakening. Then those ideas were distilled in the period of enlightenment when those people showed up. So the first thing we need to do is wake people up back to who are we really? What do rights really mean? Where do they come from? Who is our real protector? And the answers will lead us to a period where everything will be able to be restored rather easily.
Is there a point where a nation strays so far from its founding virtues that it can't find its way back? And have we reached that point, or might we be about to?
Politically, I'm not as concerned about that as I am spiritually. If you read the Moses story of the Israelites, if you read the story of Joshua, if you read the story of Jeremiah, there comes a point where God says, enough is enough. You turn back to me because I'm the one who gave you all this stuff. And, it's not about you. It's about future generations and His will and the things that He wants done. That's the important part. And there does come a point to where the people are alerted, the people are alerted, the people are alerted, and then God finally says, you know what, I've said it enough. I'm going to wipe them out. That's the point that concerns me. Politically, no. I have news for you. If anybody thinks this is going to be an easy transition either into socialism, into the slavery of Marxism, or the transition back into our founding principles, it's not going to be an easy ride. It's going to get very, very bumpy. We're not at the bottom yet. However, there's one way to make it a lot easier, and that is for us to be the people that we truly are, not the people that we've allowed ourselves to become. To reconnect with those inner virtues and values within ourselves. We do it naturally at the time of trouble. We did it on 9/12. That's who we naturally are. Now let's master that to be able to be that way without the crisis, so we can logically think our way out of the trouble that we're in.
Senator John Kyle says when he implored Obama to secure the border, Obama told him that if he did, it would remove the motivation for Republicans to go along with immigration reform. Former Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo calls that an impeachable offense. Do you agree with Tancredo?
I'm not an attorney or a constitutional scholar. I'll leave that up to them. I will tell you that there are so many things that this administration has done that I think will go down in history as, it's going to go down in history as the most corrupt administration ever. If the story is ever told, if the journalists ever decide to regain their soul to their journalist god, whoever that is, Walter Lippmann or I don't know who, if they ever care to redeem their soul and actually look into the corruption and the things that are going on in this administration will be exposed as the most corrupt of all time. When it comes to the border and impeachable offenses, there's been stuff that has been wrong on the border for a long time. I told the press back during George W. Bush, you want to impeach George W. Bush? Don't go after the Halliburton and all that stuff. The real crime is happening down on the border. It was happening under Bush. It is happening now.
Many predict the insurance purchase mandate will end up before the U.S. Supreme Court. Do you see it headed there? And if so, Glenn, any predictions for a ruling?
No predictions for a ruling. My gosh, if I would have told you any of these things, well, actually I did, and I know what they said. I was crazy. I was going to say, if I told you these things were going to come a year ago or 2 years ago, they'd call you crazy, and they have. The one thing that I have learned is think the unthinkable. Everyone who disagreed with me 2 years ago said none of these things could happen. It's because I would ask them why, and they'd say, well, because, you don't understand politics, or you don't understand this, or you don't understand this. And I said, you don't understand this? They don't care. Progressives don't care. They're not playing on the same rule book. And now you've taken progressives and added revolutionary right next to them. The game is entirely different. So predictions, think the unthinkable. What you thought couldn't happen a year ago has. What you think can't happen next year could.
Restoring Honor Rally, Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Good luck with that, Glenn Beck, and thanks so much for talking with us here at Newsmax.
You bet. Thanks.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.